Hello and welcome to Tabletop 24, and thank you for joining us for another card game unboxing. Today we have the Starter Deck 3 from the One Piece card game. If you caught all the others, we have previously done Starter Deck 1 and 2, and we've got one more coming up. This is the Seven Warlords of the Sea, and it is one of the very first starter decks for the game. So we're going to get here. We're going to have a very familiar format. If you've watched the other two videos, our first up is going to be our rules overview, gives you an idea of how to play the game, plus on the back you are going to have your playmat, so it gives you an idea of how to set things out. Inside our cardboard insert we are going to have our deck, which is made of fantastic cardstock, really heavy and dense, so not like any other card game I've ever seen, to be perfectly honest. So first up, we are going to have our 10 Don cards, which we'll be using for resources to play our other cards. And then we have our leader. So leader here is Crocodile, which is going to have 5,000 health damage, activate main, once per turn, Don for 4. So you may return 4 Don cards from the field to your Don deck and return 1 character with cost 5 or less to their owner's hand. So that could be you, or it could be your opponent. So quite nice. Then we have 2 copies of Crocodile themselves, which is 5 cost, 6,000 damage, and it's a blocker. And with the Don one on block, place 1 character with a cost 2 or less at the bottom of their owner's deck. So the deck's really going to be focusing on pushing cards back to their owners. Then we have 2 copies of Don Quixote, Doflamingo. 7 cost, 7,000 health damage. On play, return 1 character with a cost of 7 or less to their owner's hand. So could be useful to bounce cards again with the 7,000. With the 7 cost or less late game. That's going to do a lot of work for you, and obviously being on that odd cost curve, if you are going first, that's definitely going to help. Next up, we have 4 copies of Edward Weevil, 3 cost, counter 1 with 5,000 health damage, which is just going to be straightforward. Then we have 2 copies of Gecko Moria, 4 cost, 1,000 counter, 5,000 health damage. On play, add 1 of the 7 Warlords of the Sea or Thriller Bark Pirates type character with a cost of 4 or less, other than Gecko Moria, from your trash to your hand. So it's got that recursion there. So I think this deck's going to be quite tricky to play against. It's going to be pushing things the way it wants them to push. 2 copies of Dracul Millhawk, 4 cost, 5,000 health damage with a counter of 2,000. So that's quite important. Don times 1, when attacking, draw 2 cards and trash 2 cards from your hand. They've got a real good cycle coming through there. So if you want to push forward the cards that you are looking for. Then we're going to go straight in. We've got 4 copies of Gimby. 2 cost, 1,000 counter, 4,000 health damage. Fairly straightforward. Then we've got 2 copies of Sentamaru, which is going to be 3 cost, 4,000 health damage, 1,000 counter. Don 1, activate main once per turn for 2 rested Dons. Play 1 Pacifista with a cost of 4 or less from your deck, then shuffle your deck. Okay, so you're bringing those out of your deck. This is going to really like messing around with people. Then we've got 4 copies of Trafalgar Law, 1 cost, 1,000 blocker. So each of these decks seem to have this character, or a card type. It's just cheap, sort of meat shield, if you will. Then we've got 2 costs, 3,000 health damage for Bartholomew Kumar. On play, look at the 3 cards at the top of your deck and return them to the top or bottom of the deck in any order. With the trigger of play this card. So quite nice. And we've got 4 copies of Buggy the Clown. 1 cost, 3,000, 1,000 counter. Fairly straightforward. Going to do a little bit of work being with that 3,000 attack. So that's quite nice. Then we've got 4 copies of Pacifista. So this links with Centauro. 4 cost, 6,000 health damage, 1,000 counter. Fairly standard, but it's going to be nice that we can go and fetch those cards out. 4 copies of Boa Hancock. 3 cost, 1,000 alpha damage, 1,000 counter as a blocker, with a trigger of playing this card. So I think really the main purpose of that in that deck is going to be triggered into health. So again, nice 1,000 blocker. Then we've got Marshall D. Teach. So 4 cost, 4,000 health, counter of 1. On play, return 1 character with a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. So again, really bouncing those cards around. 4 copies of Sables. So trigger with activate this main effect. The main effect being return 1 character with a cost of 7 or less to its owner's hand. So again, really pushing those things around. 4 copies of Thrustpad Cannon. 2 cost, counter, return 1 character with a cost of 3 or less to the owner's hand. So really useful to get away from those attacking players. Trigger, activate this card's counter effect. So even if it goes into the life pool, it's coming out again. Then finally, we have 2 copies of Love Love Mellow. 2 cost, counter, your leader or one of your characters gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. Then draw 1 card if you have 3 or less cards in your hand. So very versatile, but quite specific to use. So going to be quite helpful to have that out probably mid-game. Okay, so that is everything there for the 7 Warlords of the Sea starter deck for the One Piece card game. If you haven't done so already, please check out the videos on the channel, give us a like and a subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.